This scam used simple verification codes to hijack accounts in minutes and lock victims out completely. Across the US, UK, Europe, and parts of Asia, people received unexpected messages with login or security codes. Moments later, a call or message followed, asking them to share that code for verification. The request sounded routine, often presented as support, delivery confirmation, or account security. Once the code was shared, access shifted instantly to the attacker. Email accounts, social profiles, and financial apps were taken over within minutes. In reported cases, victims lost control of multiple accounts in a single sequence. The method required no hacking tools, just timing and trust. What made this scam effective was simplicity. It turned security itself into the entry point. By the late 2010s and into the early 2020s, verification codes became a standard layer of security across the US, UK, Europe, and parts of Asia. Platforms relied on one-time passwords sent via SMS or apps to confirm identity. This created a system where access depended on receiving and entering a short code. At the same time, users became familiar with routine verification requests during logins and transactions. In several reported cases across multiple regions, people received codes without initiating any action. This reduced suspicion when a follow-up message or call explained the situation. Scammers used breached data and active sessions to trigger real verification prompts. The process looked legitimate because the codes were real and generated by actual systems. This environment allowed trust in verification to be the entry point for account takeover. The scam typically began with the attacker triggering a login or password reset on the victim's account. This caused a real verification code to be sent to the victim's phone or email. Immediately after, the victim received a call, message, or prompt explaining the code. In multiple cases across the US and UK, the attacker posed as support staff or a trusted service. The explanation framed the code as necessary to stop suspicious activity or confirm identity. Victims were asked to read the code back or enter it into a provided link. The interaction was quick, leaving little time to question the request. At that moment, the code meant for protection became the key for unauthorized access. Once the code was shared, the attacker completed the login or reset process immediately. Account passwords were changed to prevent the victim from regaining access. Recovery options, such as email or phone number, were often updated next. Email accounts were commonly targeted first to control notifications and linked services. From there, social media apps, messaging apps, and financial platforms were accessed. In several cases, messages were sent from the compromised account to target contacts. This allowed the scam to spread further using trusted identities. Security alerts were disabled or redirected to avoid detection. The entire takeover process could be completed within minutes of receiving the code. As the tactic proved effective, it spread rapidly across platforms and regions. In reports from the US, UK, and parts of Europe, identical patterns appeared across services. Attackers reused scripts and scenarios to request codes under different pretexts. Compromised accounts were used to reach new victims through trusted contacts. Automated systems helped trigger verification requests at scale. Some groups coordinated attacks across messaging, email, and financial platforms. The low technical barrier allowed widespread participation in the method. What appeared as isolated incidents was often part of coordinated, repeatable campaigns. Certain signals appeared consistently across cases before accounts were taken over. Receiving a verification code without initiating any login or reset request was a primary indicator. Follow-up calls or messages asking for that code introduced urgency and authority. Requests framed as security checks or account protection were commonly used. Legitimate services do not ask users to share one-time verification codes. Unexpected login alerts or device notifications often appeared at the same time. In some cases, contacts reported receiving unusual messages from the account. Security experts highlighted repeated patterns tied to social engineering techniques. The issue was that these warnings were often recognized only after access had already been lost. As incidents increased, authorities began linking cases across multiple platforms and regions. Agencies including the FBI, Europol, and UK cyber units tracked coordinated social engineering operations. Investigators identified call centers and messaging networks used to request verification codes at scale. Data showed that many attacks were tied to previously breached personal information. In several cases, groups operating from different countries were arrested for running account takeover schemes. Compromised accounts were used as entry points to expand the scam further. Platforms updated policies to warn users not to share verification codes under any circumstances. Security teams implemented stronger authentication methods beyond SMS-based codes. Estimated losses reached millions across financial accounts and digital services. The investigation confirmed a system built on manipulation, timing, and user trust rather than technical intrusion. This scam revealed how a simple security step can become a vulnerability when trust is misplaced. Verification codes were designed to protect access, but depended on user behavior. What failed was not the technology, but the assumption that users would never share the code. Attackers did not break systems, they redirected the process through the user. The method required no advanced tools, only timing and credible communication. Even cautious users could be persuaded under the right circumstances. Experts now emphasize that verification codes must remain private under all conditions. The broader lesson is clear. When security depends on human action, manipulation becomes the primary risk.